And we want to kind of take you through that journey. Even though you couldn't be here, we want to kind of give you the perspective, if you will, of a very powerful individual in the social media realm that we had flown in on a private plane, had to make sure he got picked up in a limo. We gave him the Las Vegas treatment. If you don't know, BeeKonnected is now headquartered for the last 3 years out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, before I get into all of this, I want to kind of bring in my partner and, of course, the true architect of BeeKonnected, the CEO herself, Miss Tanya Hoffman.
Hey there, everyone.
Don't leave me hanging.
I know. What can we say?
So you had a very interesting week.
Oh, every time we think, okay, this week, it's going to calm down. We're going to get to relax. No, it's never just like, what do we do today? No, there's always someone amazing that we're meeting, and coming back to the table as well.
Yeah, you never know till you know, but of course we've had multiple dialogues, obviously on virtual conferencing, but it was time to really kind of get into it. So we wanted to make sure we brought him into Vegas so he could understand the support and see your vision, which of course he did. And we'll kind of hold off on that so we get into the presentation. We can go kind of blow by blow, right, moment by moment. But the funny thing to me was, getting him his own private charter plane in and getting picked up in the limo. His comment was what? With what was it? A granola bar?
The blueberry granola bars on the plane were amazing. I'm like, you get a jet plane, a limo, and you're excited about that. Oh, and the caramel popcorn in the VIP lounge. That was the other. Obviously, he's in his 20s, and food is important at this point.
I think that was the most expensive granola bar I've ever bought in my life.
Right.
Hey, but it goes to show you it's the simple things in life that people really get impressed about. But what an incredible individual, right? I could understand why he has over 10 million people that follow him, from coast to coast here in the United States, because he is an amazing talent. So we'll kind of get into that. Now, there's obviously, as always, a lot of new people tuning in, and there's going to be a lot more of those happening here very soon, because you've had your other mega influencer get excited. We've got some huge businesses next week coming up on the docket because of all the work that our affiliate partners have put into this. And of course, our chief operating officer, he's like, what is happening? Like, where are all these people coming from? So anyway, it's kind of exciting, but let's kind of jump a little bit into this so we can get some visual stimulation to tell the story, take the people on the journey. There's a lot of information here that some people have seen before. And then, of course, there's a lot of information here that you haven't seen before. So, our new official slogan, at least for the minute, is obviously the logo, BeeKonnected. But, the tagline here is connecting you is what we do, right? And
Brilliant came up with that.
Some handsome young man. I would say that's only half true, but maybe none of that's true. But connecting you in multiple ways, right? So again, unique ways. Some of them are patented ways. Some ways that people out there, and I want to save this, but I think if we were to do a survey, and of course, when we were walking this individual, this mega influencer through our presentation, and we had a custom one done for him specifically so he could tie in his numbers of followers to our platform to show him what the true potential was. He was kind of blown away. Now, he and I probably kind of scored Tanya on the same scale of how many logos we recognized up front.
Right.
Like, I didn't know Kajabi, right? And then he guessed wrong on a couple of them, but he got most of them right? Because they're obviously, a lot of them are household names, and some of them, since they're new, like Salesforce and HubSpot, they put their name in the logo, kind of like what we did. So you know what you're looking at. But the first question, we ask is, how many of these platforms are you using? And of course, he answered, he's a huge person on Instagram. And then the second question is, well, how much time and money are you investing online? And of course, we had those conversations. And I said, well, here's the new proposition, because that's kind of like Frankensteining your business by having to tie in other companies' software and kind of duct taping it and putting a Band-Aid on it to make it work. What if we could show you a platform that does everything you could possibly conceive as far as the business side of your life, and put it in one platform? You can start absolutely free, and then you only have to upgrade to the things that you need. And he's like, okay, this is very interesting. Please continue. And I said, well, let's give you some visuals to show you. Now, to my knowledge, we're the only company in the universe that supplies all the important platforms to run a business. Now, some of them say they're a one-stop shop, but they're missing key components, like they're not a virtual conferencing company. So that means you have to go over to Google or Microsoft or Zoom to get that function done. And then like CRMs, these are a very powerful company, and we'll get into that because CRM is just blowing and going as far as how many people are getting one for their business, but it's not tied into the other vital platforms, which means you're going to have to do a lot of data entry. So the theory behind it is sound, but the execution is flawed. It's not caught up. And of course, with your vision and your tech team, you've pretty much pulled off the impossible, right? So again, we were talking about this morning, right, over a cup of coffee before the show started. And I said, isn't it funny that, you know, the Magnificent Seven, or whatever they call the big tech companies, have a combined net worth of 13 trillion.
Right.
That's with not a B, but a T. So you didn't mishear what I said. Trillion. And they did not do this. They did not tie it all together. So a lot of them are just like one-trick ponies. So of course, your magic starts with, of course, first off, we're designed for the business community. That doesn't mean if you're not a business, you can't use BeeKonnected, because a lot of the people here are following business leaders to get advice, right? Get educated, learn things from these gifted coaches. Now, Tanya, you put like 7 years into building the Public Speakers Association. Who were your clients?
Yeah, they were all of that. The entrepreneurs, business owners using speaking to get their message out there and find new clients.
Now, I don't know if you're incredibly intelligent or you were just super lucky, because I remember you sold the Public Speakers Association just 1 month before the pandemic hit.
Oh, yeah. I was like, woo. But I was really ready, because it only took me so far to help people. And it's always been a mission to help people be seen more, and then to monetize their following and the people that they're connected to, because that was the two biggest pain points that I kept finding.
Is it safe to say, because of that experience of working side by side with these trainers and coaches and authors, that you knew that when you were going to go build out this software, you paid attention to the details, like putting the offers on the screen constantly, that they didn't have to dig it out of chat, and that people would be watching more replays than they would come to a live show, so they could still place an order after the fact?
Yeah, it was always those pain points of how do you sell more? And most people are not great at sales. So how do you help people do that seamlessly, and simplify their life?
And then, of course, you didn't just do all your business in America. So you made sure that language would not be a barrier. So we can translate in over 100 languages. And then you paid attention to my career. And so you added some software for the direct sales people, because you understood how big it is. And then, of course, you got some of this where you caught the world napping, and you jumped in and got a patent so nobody could copy you after the fact. So very, very cool. Probably very, kind of a little ruthless, though. For the fun person you are, when it comes to business, I wouldn't want to tangle with you.
I love it.
Now, I love this tagline you chose. We make you what?
Look good.
So instant custom branding. So again, a lot of people who've been with us, they say, well, couldn't I make my own links and brand my own platform? So what changed?
So we just implemented the actual room theme change. So you just click the little button once you set it up, and instantaneously, poof, it changes right before everyone's eyes. So now you have multiple ways to offer things, calendar links, sponsorships, all kinds of things. So up to 15 different offers.
So they can take a credit card, they can take them to a website, they can put them on a landing page. And then what I love about it now that you've made it so they can have up to 15 different offers, you don't have to make your final offer right up front so they get distracted and they don't pay attention to you. You can wait and have the timing down in your presentation to offer the different things you're talking about at the appropriate time.
Exactly.
So that's a huge difference than just having just one offer there the entire time you're talking, because maybe sometimes a meeting might go an hour, and this way they can mix it up and then, get them a newsletter, have them join a group, massage the relationship. Some of them might be asking, hey, I love this platform. I've never seen this before. How do I get my own?
Yes, absolutely. And one of the things that makes the biggest, opportunity for people is to collaborate with others so that it's not just a one-shop, show. You can have now for summits and for anything, have multiple people that you're representing.
See, now you're speaking my language, because in all the decades I was in the direct sales business, I kept telling people, stop doing everything by yourself. Collaborate with one another. It's one thing that if you can do a great job, and let's say you can bring 20 or 30 people to a meeting, but if that's all the people that come to the meeting, you only have so much leverage because it's 30 people. But if you collaborate with, say, another 5 leaders, and they can put 200 people in the same room, when you walk into that room and see 200 people versus 20, the energy and the enthusiasm goes through the roof. And of course, at the end of the day, then the conversions are much higher. More people are likely to buy and be excited about the opportunity. So here, having 15 different available offers, you can bring on multiple coaches, multiple speakers. No one's going to be stepping on anybody's toes, because they know that they can click a button and then their offers can show up at the time that they're going to be speaking. So I thought that was absolutely genius. Now, again, ladies and gentlemen, if you're excited, put in the chat that you're excited. And then more importantly, where else can you find this technology in the world? Where else where the company is paying attention to your needs, and letting you brand the platform to your company? I mean, I don't pick it on Zoom because they're a juggernaut, but they're very generic, aren't they, Tanya?
Yeah, and this is what has been important for me coming from the speaking world. It's all about branding, right? From the name of your room. It's got your name in there. You don't have that with Zoom, right? You have all of the ability to color brand yourself. Everything is designed for that purpose.
Okay, so now we're going over to probably the hottest product in the tech sector right now. I know a lot of people are talking about IA, but things to come because they haven't perfected it. But the CRM business, right, for a small business owner is becoming, obviously glaringly important, because based on the statistics now, right? So like CRMs, like if you look at HubSpot, they have almost 300,000 customers. And when I say a customer, a lot of time it's a customer, it's a big company. So they might have a dozen, 100, or 1,000 employees in that realm of saying 288,000 customers. It's more than 288,000 people. So what I'm saying is it's a bigger sample size. So when they talk about boosting revenue by 29%, that's a huge uptick in profit, right? Sales productivity, 34%. But the one that was staggering to me, I had no idea that conversions went up 300% because of a CRM.
Well, because people have heard the fortunes in the follow-up, but they don't say how to do that. And this is how.
It was always the tagline saying, okay, so you told me what I'm supposed to do, but you don't tell me how I'm supposed to do it.
Exactly.
And I hate follow-up like a root canal, right? So it's just like, And then, of course, my problem is because I talked to so many people in the world that I was involved in, sometimes it would be 50, sometimes it'd be 100, sometimes it'd be 1,000 people show up to hear me talk. And I'm like, well, how do I follow through with these people?
Yes.
And then more importantly, who did I talk to? Somebody comes up to you like 4 months later saying, hey, I met you in Houston. You remember at that conference when there was 1,000 people? I'm like, no, I don't remember that.
Well, that's why I wanted to make sure that the system automatically keeps track of what somebody does. So if someone follows you and then they turn into a connection and then they're on your show and then they join a group, you see that whole history. And so now you know how to have a great conversation with someone when you get on with them.
I kind of wish we would have put this in play a while back, because there have been times in our evolution that I'm on, it's actually online 40 hours a week in video conference. And the sheer volume of people I'm talking to, I cannot remember sometimes, like by Wednesday, I'll forget who I talked to in the morning before the end of the day, because my mind is just saturated with all the people that I'm talking to. So this industry obviously is blowing and going. It's up 600% when it started in 2010. And then, of course, next year, there's an $80 billion price tag in revenue up for grabs.
I like that number.
So again, it's not a question. It's kind of like when I was in the cell phone business like 25 years ago or so. I already knew that almost every single person in this country was going to eventually have a mobile device. But at the time I got in the industry, market penetration was only 30%, right? Which means 70% of the population was yet to go. And at that time, people that didn't have a mobile device, didn't need to be sold, they were lining up in the stores and at kiosks, right? It was so funny. You didn't have to be, sales was not required, right? People were coming to a store, they were sitting behind a kiosk, waiting their turn to sign a 2-year agreement. It was just a crazy time. And so CRM is in that same place. Now, again, you, of course, did the impossible, or you made the impossible possible by simply, first off, creating the first integrated virtual conferencing platform. I thought this is incredibly brilliant of you, that you are seeing way down the line as technology always unfolds. You want to be able to pivot at a moment's notice. And so with an integrated virtual conferencing platform, unlike all the others, you then can add something like a CRM right to it. So they can, for lack of a better word, they can talk to each other.
Right, absolutely.
So why is that important? Well, I don't know if you can see me. I'm a baby boomer, so I type with only 2 fingers.
We don't see, we just see the PowerPoint.
Well, I'm a hunter and a pecker when it comes to the keypad.
Believe me, he is totally a pecker. He gets going.
Well, I hate typing. So, in other words, what I'm saying is, I dread data entry.
Yes.
And your CRM does almost all the heavy lifting for me. So when someone comes on to a show, or somebody hits the follow button, or somebody's buying a course, or somebody's doing something, the CRM is capturing the data. And in all the other programs, you have to manually input this stuff. So this is a time saver, and makes my life, at least my life, I can speak for myself, can't speak for the audience. I like to do things where I'm having a relationship with my customer, not doing what I call the monkey work.
Yeah,
right?
and especially in some industries, like we were talking to the insurance company, and it was important for them to take the transcripts and the videos and put it with that person. So now with the CRM, the same thing, they can just add it.
So this is like a combo thing here, right? So again, just like in fast food, they combo it for you. So you don't have to go through and say, I want this, and I want that, and I want this. They just say, hey, give me a number 7, right? They've already put it together for you, and you've done the same thing where you've taken the virtual conferencing, and because it's integratable to other software that you develop, the CRM and in the virtual conference we call Care to Connect or K2K work hand in hand. Now, again, we don't want to wear you out with a bunch of technology, but remember, you can also, can they not? They can upload leads. They can do all kinds of stuff with the CRM, right? Importing more information, more data, if you will, to work with.
Yeah, you can do everything that you're used to doing the manual way. You can import. So if you already have a list, you say, okay, let's bring this all over, and then do everything that you're used to doing.
Now, price is not a factor to super successful people because they got a lot of money and they usually want to buy things that are the best. But to the person getting started in business, they got to watch every dollar, right? They got a budget that they got to work with. Now, the biggest companies in the industry are like Salesforce, HubSpot, and Zoho. We're not picking on them. We just pick them out because they are the biggest and in most people's eyes, for their understanding, they're the best. Now, Salesforce, by their own self-proclaimed title, they're the #1 CRM company out there. But their enterprise level is $1,500 a month.
Yeah, and that's kind of the base that goes up from there.
So that means if you have 10 people in your company, you're spending almost $200,000 on one piece of software.
Exactly.
And then again, notice it says there's no support for live shows and the group and live show integration doesn't exist. So in our case, BeeKonnected does all this stuff, gives you 24/7 live support for $49.95. We say $50 flat rate, just kind of try to keep it simple.
Right.
I would say that's like night and day. Now, HubSpot's got more customers than Salesforce, so they're up there in that elite category. They're a little more cost effective than Salesforce, but they want $800 a month. So I remember having conversation with like presidents of Chamber of Commerce, and they said, oh, yeah, CRMs are great, but it's out of the price range of my customers.
Exactly.
So again, this is just give you an understanding of why when we're about to have the further conversations, things are about to go viral here at BeeKonnected. Now the pricing, now this is going to be starting in November 1st. So what is up?
Oh, we're adjusting it so that truly people can start for free and then really only look at what do they need to upgrade for what they need.
Now your tech team is working around the clock. So you demanded more of them, get on and get more programmers because you want to hit this deadline. And of course, they have additional options to add. Now, how are you going to let people start in a couple of weeks?
So they'll be able to try it completely free for everything for free for 14 days. So a 14-day free trial.
So it's a 14-day free trial to have everything on the screen. So the CRM, the bundle package, the premium content, and a P3 system we haven't really talked about. That's for the direct sales world. They get to do it all, and they can have up to 1,000 attendees, and they can try everything out at absolutely no risk for 14 days.
Exactly. Who loves that? Put in the chat. Who's excited?
So that just took sales right out of the equation. Unless you have a hard time selling free, then we have to have another conversation outside of this one, right? So that's something that, you get to discover it. You get to try it. You don't have to be sold something. You don't have to have a Tom Hopkins. If you probably, people are like, who's that? Because I'm old. Quick sizzle close. Now, the other thing is you're changing the rules for monetization. What did you do there?
So any of the paid packages, you now can be an affiliate as of November 1st.
So you're saying $19.95, they can monetize their business?
Exactly.
Okay, well, now it doesn't make any sense to be a free subscriber if you're going to build a following of any kind of magnitude from a dozen to thousands, which is what most people do, right? They just get into the hundreds or thousands. You don't have to be some rock star. And then this will actually pay for itself and probably, in a lot of cases, be an asset.
Yes.
And it's $19.95 to monetize their business. That in itself is a game changer. So again, under $20 to be able to turn a business model into a profit center. So that to me is, we learn to finesse the conversation, is kind of like the no-brainers of no-brainers. Okay, so where's this picture?
So we're at the Bellagio here in Las Vegas.
So for the brand new people that don't know what's going on, and there's just a bunch of strangers in there, obviously they can see your. I got to watch what I say here. So people always think we're a couple, and I'm saying we never argue. So that tells you we're not a couple. There you are on the far left. There's your chief of staff, Heather Wells, and then of course the gentleman. We're on the bottom row. The gentleman there, that is Frank Fausto Jr. Who is he to you?
He is our incredible CMO.
What's his nickname?
The Google guy, soon to be the BeeKonnected guy.
Why is he the Google guy?
Because he helped build Google for 15 years when they first was getting started. So he saw the actual birth and growth of Google.
That's like one of the smartest people I ever met.
Yeah.
Coming from a guy that only has a PhD, which, by the way, is a public high school diploma. Now, who is the lady there to the far right?
That is our incredible CSO, or Chief Strategy Officer, Ms. Cassie Parks.
Who's also a
incredible investor of ours.
Yeah, very smart, intelligent, and of course had a lot of money, so that was good. Now, obviously, help you out here. That was the man of the hour, correct?
Absolutely.
What is his nickname online?
Jazz.
Yeah, and of course, there's yours truly in the back. So this was his first trip ever into Vegas, which I thought was shocking, right? 10 million people know his name, and he's never been to the Sin City before.
Yeah. His girlfriend had been here. She's like, I'm always coming to Vegas.
And we had a table because we had lunch and we had dinner. We had a table right by the fountain. So when it went off, he was like, holy cow, what is that? Right. So he got to see the whole water show at the Bellagio. A lot of people, if you haven't been here, you've probably seen it on TV. Like, what was that movie with Brad Pitt and those guys? They were always stealing stuff.
They were stealing stuff. I don't
know. Something 12, Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12. That's it. So they would be outside the Bellagio, and they had the big water show. A lot of people see it on TV a lot. Anyway, getting back to the important thing. So he came in, you flew him in. We had several conversations, obviously, with him online. We also talked to his handler or manager, right, who handles his accounts, because when you get to that level, you need people, right, there to help you with all the other things while he creates content. Now, he was creating content from the moment he was able to park his car next to the plane. He didn't fly commercial. So it's really cool when you just drive your car up and they take it away for you. You just jump on the plane and you don't have to go through all that security stuff. And he was recording all the content about the experience right from the jump.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Even when we were having our meetings, he's like, wait, let me take a picture. Let me take a video.
Yeah, I've never been around somebody that says, wait, we got to take a picture more than we do things. So it was funny. But it was good to see how these guys create their worlds, right? And they take advantage of every possible conceivable moment so they can tell their story to their audience to keep them entertained. Now, I believe, he's obviously he's a musician, he's a rapper, he's an actor, and he's been in a lot of TV stuff. So he's very diverse, and he knows lots and lots of influential people besides himself being a mega influencer. And by the way, if you're new to the world of social media, mega means you have a minimum of 1 million people in your following. And he has 10x that. So, okay, so in the conversation, let's see if you can relate to this, because again, I'm just trying to find common ground without kind of teching him out, right? Because he's a creative genius. And I said, so I want you to consider BeeKonnected like a Ferrari. It's not a Pontiac or a Ford, no disrespect to those brands. Like, this is Ferrari's brand new Ferrari they just came out with called the F80. Now, they've only made 799 coming off the assembly line. That was it. It was a limited edition. And they sold out immediately.
Oh, man, I didn't get mine.
Well, it does come with a price tag of $3.9 million.
Oh, okay.
And so when I was talking to Jazz about this, I said, look, just consider us a Ferrari. Now, you do not have to go under the engine and fix stuff. You don't have to provide maintenance, right? We are the parent company. What we want you to do is be the driver. would you like to drive the Ferrari? And he looked at me and I could see him processing the information. I said, you decide, do you go left or do you go right? You can decide you want to drive like a grandma and go 20 miles an hour, or do you want to go 120 miles an hour? You decide what decisions get made in your Ferrari that you get to drive. And we're going to provide the maintenance, AKA customer service, the updates, all the things that you don't want to do. We're going to provide that for you, but we're going to give you free reign to take it wherever you want to go. And he got really excited about that concept, right, Tanya?
Absolutely. He's like, let's go, let's floor it.
Yeah. And so sometimes he would catch himself asking permission questions. And I said, who's the driver? He goes, I am. So hopefully you can relate to that analogy, because we had to keep it simple. Now, from this point, you know, he obviously understands, the internet. And of course, he's looking to expand his brand, right, Tanya? And then some of the bigger companies are courting him. And he's turned some of the biggest names down, and he was super excited about your platform. And this, what we're about to talk about is kind of what sealed the deal.
Yeah, and it's important for people to see what excites somebody like him, who is being courted by some of the biggest, you know, platforms out there, but yet we're, you know, way above that in his mind.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why we're explaining this to you, if you want to nab one of these kind of guys, there's an old cliche coming out of Africa, and it says it takes a village. You can't do it by yourself. These people are too important. A lot of times it's hard, or if not impossible, just to make contact with them. And then they have managers or handlers that buffer them from the public, right? Because they're busy doing their thing. They're always busy. Don't think they're not, right? They're always making content. They're always planning stuff. They always got things to do. So I talked about Robert Kiyosaki a little bit, because remember, this gentleman was pretty much like 2 years old or 1 year old when the book came out, which made me feel really old. Because I was already middle-aged when the kid, I'm calling him a kid, when I was talking about this thing. But of course we joke, because I lived in Hawaii. I actually lived on the Big Island right down the road from where Robert Kiyosaki went to high school. But he did recognize the cash flow quadrant. So we just did a quick catch up to talk about 95% of the world is on the left, 5% is on the right. And I said, we're going to actually adopt 3 of the 4 strategies of the cash flow quadrant. And of course, he was like, interesting, because you could see him processing the information. Now, I said, now we have multiple ways to compensate you. And then he started asking a question. I said, who's the driver? He goes, I am. I said, so if something doesn't resonate, just throw it out. If it's not your exit, keep going, right? But stop where you want to stop. Ask the questions you want to ask. All of them are going to be available to you. So I said, we start right from the get-go that you can sell your own products and services with your own custom branding. Now, when you ask a mega influencer, right, Tanya, how important is branding? They don't say kinda. They're like, oh my God, it's everything, right? Because how do you stand out to the 5? How do you get attention to the 5 billion people online? Exactly. And so branding was key. And then he recognized that we're offering up to 15 different options. He was in love with that. Now, at his level, he can have sponsors because he has relationships with some of the bigger players in the industry. So he was really keen on that. And then when it came to a live show, he was excited. And of course, these are all the different ways that anyone can compensate themselves. Now, this one was interesting, right? When he talks about the monthly premium groups.
Yes.
And he has a group on Instagram. He has over 10,000 people in his paid group. But he said Instagram had a policy he couldn't go above $20.
Right.
And I'm like, well, that's like a Ferrari where you can't go over 55 miles an hour.
Exactly.
Why buy a car, right? Go 200 and they make you stay at 55. And he said, well, how much can I charge? And I said, who's driving? I said, it's me. I said, there you go. I'm gonna floor it. And then he was really excited about the last one, right? Because he's like, he has all this incredible knowledge in his head and he wants to share it with his audience and he wants to teach people so they can do what he's doing. I mean, he's really truly a leader where he's trying, it's a servant heart. He wants to help other people to be successful. It's not always just about him. So I really like that about him. He's really a good person. And then, of course, unlike some of the other social media platforms that want to take up to 50% of your money, I thought this was another genius idea, is not get greedy and let people keep all their money.
Exactly.
And of course, I thought that was a perfect facial expression for a person. Because at the end of the day, it's how much money you get to how much of your money you get to put in your bank.
Right. You make it, you keep it.
Right. Because when we come to the sixth way of making money, where we said that people can monetize their following, then what you have to understand if you're brand new here is we've monetized this as well. And this was, again, genius, and it makes you kind of a disruptor because none of the other platforms worth trillions of dollars want to give up this money.
Right. You know, especially if you're looking at podcasters and influencers and people that have these massive lists, but yet they're not monetizing that because there hasn't been a way.
So the gist of this is we're taking 20% total. We break that up into two tiers, 10% and 10%, and we give that money back weekly to the people building their network on our platform. So this is a simple example. Now, these weren't exactly characters that fit the person perfectly because Jazz was supposed to come out a week later and he was so excited he moved up the timeline. So I had to scramble a little bit. But Lane Dockstetter, right, he's the one responsible for finding Jazz, right, that reached out. I said, hey, would you like to monetize your platform? He said, maybe, right? He didn't say yeah, absolutely. He said, maybe. What do you got? So I remember when we were talking to Jazz, I said, well, option number one with this is you can build your following. Now, he is a mega influencer, so he qualifies for us maybe compensating him up front because we're not dumb, right? Because he has 10 million people. But I said, now, if any of these people upgrade, all that money's going to go to Lane. And his happy face was not happy face. He's like, it's like that. What is that show? He's like, what are you talking about, Willis?
Exactly.
Like, what? I said, whoa. I said, that's option number one. Option number two is, contractually, we would call you an affiliate partner, and then you can monetize the 10 million people that are, whatever portion of them you bring over. And then he went back to having a happy face.
Yes.
And I said, but now Lane is still going to be compensated 100% because that'll be considered Lane's second tier, and they're equal percentages. And he looked a little confused. And I said, hang on, you can be Lane if you want to. And this joke probably might go south on me. So he's like, this is a white guy. What are you talking about? I could be him. It's like, no. In theory, you could be Lane, where if you introduce somebody, you can override their following as well. So I said, let's bring up your numbers. Now, remember, it's his numbers, not our numbers, his numbers. And I said, you have 10 million in your following? And he's like, more than 10 million. I said, are you going to stay still or are you going to keep growing your brand? He said, no, I'm going to keep growing my brand. And I said, well, if you could convert 1% to BeeKonnected, 1% of 10 million is 100,000. Now, the average commission, this is where the variable is. So this is only for illustration purposes only. It's not a guarantee of income because it could fluctuate. But I'm going to take the middle of the equation, not the cheapest, not the most expensive, just right in the middle. Then we will be paying you $500,000 a month. And then I was quiet for a little bit so it would sink in. And you could see him processing the information. Now, I said, if you're a true influencer, you should be able to do about 5%. Now, I don't care who you are. $2.5 million a month is a lot of money.
Right.
That's life-changing money. And that means you do have a Ferrari and you are the driver. You might get another one in another color. Who knows? So it was pretty much over at this point, but we still had dinner to go to, right? And we had to talk contractually about being an influencer and what we would want from him and, helping him in his quest. So I'm going to add another slide here if you're watching, and especially if you're brand new, because it's not just about influencers, right, Tanya?
Absolutely.
So again, there's all kinds of businesses, from the solopreneur to chamber of commerce to networking groups. Now, before you were the CEO of the Public Speakers Association, you did something crazy in Texas. What'd you do?
Oh, there's so many things. No, I had created 2 business networking group organizations that I sold both of those, but I have 35 chapters throughout Texas.
So again, we're because of Brazil, and he's another one of our up and coming superstars. He has been networking for, I think, 20 years?
Yeah, a while.
Yeah, a long time. And so anyway, he brought a CEO to the table who has a women's group that has 80,000 entrepreneurs in one organization. Now, obviously, the ratio of conversion would be much higher because all these people are just entrepreneurs to begin with. So, I don't know if it's 10%, 50%, 75%. So you can draw your own conclusions. So this person was interested in something, and you got to use the right terminology when you're talking to CEOs and presidents, especially if they have an organization, because you can only charge them so much, and then it comes inversely proportional. It becomes too expensive, then the people quit because there has to be value. So they look for something called non-dues revenue. And I've worked with many chambers and many organizations throughout my adult life. And that's always something that they love to hear, right? How can I make more money but provide better value to my members, right? So they feel special. And of course, the ultimate goal of any CEO is to make people succeed, especially if you're like in a women's group. So this could be up to 80,000 people. And again, if we take the middle of the commission of the people that upgrade, that can be up to $400,000 a month. Now, I know this sounds like it's a lot of money, but that's only adding $5 a month per existing member. But here's the real question, because the CEO of the women's group, that number in green is only their first tier. Everyone gets 2 tiers in our compensation. So the question is, how many people are in the following of 80,000 other businesses?
That's the real question.
I mean, if it was only 12, then we're talking about 1 million. Not dollars, people. That's the reach of just 2 tiers, connecting the dots. They always talk about 6 points of separation. We're only on point 2.
Right.
So it can be mind-boggling, but again, it has to be a product that's universal. So that's why virtual conferencing, CRM, forming groups, social media, all these things are universal in the business world online. Now, this is part of the B quadrant of the cash flow quadrant. And a lot of times people get nervous or they have concerns because it's a different way of thinking. Where if you remember the equation from the cash flow quadrant, this is where you have other people helping you make money. And sometimes people have a hard time with that. Okay, so we have multiple streams of income. 7A and 7B is VIP Platinum status, where you can actually get some of the units we've created in a unique fashion, where you can get some net profits of the company passively. Or you might know or be an influencer, investor. Either way, if this is you, we're not going to spend time on this today. Just email the company at support@BeeKonnected.com. Somebody should probably type that in chat, support@BeeKonnected.com. And we can cover that because we have gone through 90% of the VIP Platinum. And I know, Tanya, you're still getting more and more orders every day. But this is designed to help people have another passive revenue stream. And then what can you say about 7B now?
We have people moving from the VIP Platinum all the way over to the investor because, they see the vision and they've been with us for a long time. So they can see how we're moving quickly now. Plus, we've got a big investor event at the end of the month.
Yes. And I mean, that's the tail of the tape, because, obviously, if you've been here for more than a year and BeeKonnected, you didn't go through like one presentation, right? You didn't go through one presentation. You obviously have seen everything, right? They've heard us talk about what we're going to promise, and then they've seen it delivered. All right, getting back to the conversation with the mega influencer, because I skipped that, by the way. I didn't even show that. I didn't even bring that up because of the nature of who he was and what he was trying to accomplish. I don't need to tell him every single thing, especially if I know it's not relevant. But I knew he would be interested in this, which is called VIP Elite. And so I simply said the highest title as an affiliate partner you can have here is VIP Elite, because what that's going to make you is an equity partner. You're going to get stock options in the company pre-IPO. Now, you have to be one of the first 20 people. I said to date, you're the second mega influencer to really sit down and listen to us tell our story. There will be thousands, tens of thousands of more. You're the second one, so you have first right of refusal. Now, there's 3 ways to qualify. You can do it through your own following. So out of your 10 million or however many more you're going to have in the future, if 10,000 people come over and upgrade, then you will be a VIP Elite. If you refer other people to the company, you can take half of the people there that in their following and use that for qualification purposes. You can become VIP Elite. Or you can be a combination of both A and B and become a VIP Elite. Do you believe you can become VIP Elite? And I barely, right, Todd, you could get the sentence out of my mouth. And he's like, well, of course.
Yes, emphatically.
And I said, okay, well, here then is what awaits you. Now remember, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking to somebody that already has 10 million people in their following. So when you talk about 1 million, they're not exactly getting nervous. They're like, yeah. I said, that's 1 million upgraded members. Then approximately 2 billion will be our evaluation. Now it depends on your rank. Now you have a head start. Your Ferrari just came out the assembly line. You're going to jump in it right now, and you're going to take off before everybody else finds about it. So you can have a big head start on people, or not if you procrastinate.
Right.
So that will be the difference. Is your stock going to be worth 2 million or 40 million? Will depend on where you're at when it's all said and done. But I said, hold the phone. We're not going to go through the IPO until we reach the same status you did, where we have 10 million, but instead of free members. But this is all of the resources around the world. This is all the influencers. We're already in 142 countries. This is everybody working in harmony. And as the company achieves these numbers, this is what the stock is going to be valued at pre-IPO. And then I'm smart enough to shut up. And then he was looking at that. And then, of course, at how we set up the day for this individual, the next slide said break, which means we're going to take a pause, and then we're all going to gather and go to dinner, which is where the picture came from. Now, this was a slide right before the break. And I said to this mega influencers, there's 3 kinds of people. The first person, it doesn't resonate because I know you've turned down some of the big tech companies already. And you're a no thanks. And it said, just enjoy the rest of your time here on us because we're paying for all the accommodations. And he's on a plane, in the middle of the next afternoon. The second kind of person is you just want to kind of hang out, check out some of the stuff, maybe use some of the software to support you on Instagram and wherever else you're going to go. I said, now the third person is an influencer or / wants to be VIP Elite. What say you? That's my big closing, right? What say you? And what do you say?
Oh, I don't remember the exact words, but it was like, yes.
I'm definitely VIP Elite. Let's go. And then he said, I'm going to floor my Ferrari.
Yes.
But floor it doesn't mean he's going to take a hammer to it, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to press on the accelerator and run. So, it's not over till it's over. But Tanya, what I love about this is you've actually made the impossible possible. Because as we're having all these conversations about the mega influencer, who is also a recipient of a ton of rewards?
Lane Dockstetter.
And what percentage does he get?
100%.
That's life-changing. And you can tell when we talk to him, he's so nervous. He's so nervous. He's like, he's like, but is it going to come true? Am I going to be a millionaire? Is this really happening? And the answer is absolutely. Okay, so get back out of this and get back to the show. So this is my favorite time, right? When people start to get big paydays, their life gets to change. The next time you see them, they're in a new car. They've gone on a vacation. They've put away money for their kids' college education. That's the fun part of when you build a sales team, is you get to see the people transform. Now, it's not everybody. That's competition. There has to be losers and winners. And the people that learn the most aren't the winners, it's the losers, because they have time to reflect. Right? I love in Star Wars, Yoda was talking to Skywalker in the last one, and he said, the greatest teacher is failure. And so, again, it's taken us, in February, it'll be 5 years to get to this moment in time. And then all this amazing stuff is happening as we speak. And then there's too many stories to go through of all the people coming. But I know come the beginning of next month, when we have all the tech stack lined up and all the little buttons and everything is all lined up, and then the whole conversation is from the slogan you've chosen, you get to start for free. That means free trial. Try all the software out free of charge, and then decide what you want. And they can go back to staying free. It doesn't matter. They don't have to upgrade. But then again, if you're a small business owner, not having a CRM, you're going to fall behind. Not having a virtual conference where you can make up to 15 different offers custom branded to your company. Why would you stay with generic vanilla? I'm sorry, Zoom. It's an exciting time. It's obviously to all the people that have been with us over the course of time, all of our loyal, faithful tech enthusiasts, right? The people that were here that grinded out. We really appreciate your support. And we want to thank you from the bottom of our heart on the journey. Now, the journey is not over. Now is not the time to break out the champagne, say, what do you say, yippee? Yeah, yippee. That's not the time. The time is to get focused, because we got capital, lots of capital coming in. There's only 64 million influencers on Instagram. We've talked to two, right? I mean, we've attempted, but again, some of them have an attitude until their success. Not to beat a dead horse, but TikTok didn't take forever to get to 1 billion. For as long as we've been around, and now we don't know what they did prior to this, but they reached 1 billion subscribers in 5 years. We only talked about getting to 10 million upgraded people for the company's evaluation to be in the billions, and our VIP Elite and all of our VIP Platinum members are doing well.
Yeah, and if I was, someone listening, I would reach out to Lane and go, hello, how'd you do that, right? This is a community. We all get to support, and if he wants to give you insight.
He might guard that place where he found that person, because he was told where to go from another person. But at the basic level, because we're talking about the elite of the elite, right? We're talking about the 0.1 of 1%. But the vast majority of entrepreneurs need help. That's just a fact, because 90% of them don't make it in the first year. So again, on the grassroots level, you've provided all the technology that one would need to be successful in one place with only one password, with education, tutorials, pampering, whatever you want to say, with live support, and still some of them are still not going to make it. It's not easy being an entrepreneur. It's incredibly challenging, but at the flip side, it's incredibly rewarding, because you get to be free, right? You get to be the boss. You get to be the driver of your own Ferrari. And I know a lot of you listening, you know what that means. So our goal here is to support you, help you brand yourself, grow your business. And that's, I think, what this mega influencer took away. He goes, it's a different culture here. You're really trying to help us become more successful by giving us more options, giving us more tools, giving us more leverage to do what we do.
And all in a simple manner.
Yes. Okay, so what can someone to expect in the near future? Just do a quick recap.
As far as they can already do everything. So
we know,
already grabbed the CRM, so it's now available for all package levels with BeeKonnected.
right. And so again, you know, you can have a couple conversations. Now, we say November 1.
Yes, K2K, we are already on it.
Yeah, K2K went live in May of 2024. Now, the CRM was only live 2 weeks ago. So that's important to understand. So some of this stuff is brand new right off the assembly line, right? It's a brand new Ferrari, went off on the assembly line. As the Google guy likes to say, this is just an awareness play now. How many people we can get in front and tell the story, let them try it out. And then what's going to happen is obviously we're going to have income stories coming from people that sold a number of amount of courses because of all the collaboration and all the buttons that we talked about. There's so many more ways that people are going to make more revenue for their businesses because the technology is going to help them collapse timeframes. That's got nothing to do with a mega influencer coming here and rolling over 1 million people into BeeKonnected and making $3 million a month in passive residual income. That'll be like the Pied Piper, right? Showing the other people of, and in the conversation in the near future will be, why are you not on BeeKonnected? We didn't say ditch the other platforms because the average consumer is using almost 7 platforms at the same time.
Yeah, and you got to start really diving in now and build out your experience here at BeeKonnected so that as those millions of people come in, guess who they see? It's all there for you to really get that experience.
Now, we have a procedure for leaders, presidents, CEOs, mega influencers. So again, it takes a village. So again, it's not all on you. You only have to start a conversation. Of course, you have to create the contact, reach out, do a post, tell people about it. And when they respond, hey, can you tell me more? Then we have videos you can send. And then we have our chief content officer, his name is David Dubbs. He does live demos for leaders. So he brings them on and he shows them the software, and the software kind of dances, and he shows how all the interconnection works. And he'll click on the little button and change all the stuff in real time right in front of them. And they always walk away with, holy cow, that was cool, right? Nobody goes, that's yeah. No, that's not the response. They're like, wow, this is amazing. I've never seen this before. And you want that wow factor. And then we have a step 4, we call it, because we're at step 4. And then we talk about the financials. And then we lead them. And of course, they always end up on our CEO's doorstep, but through like a very robust funnel, if I could say. They're being filtered down because obviously there's a big world, and Tanya, there's only one of you.
Yeah, so email support and they will help you go through those channels. So if you find somebody, just reach out and we will help.
It sounds complicated because it was so funny because I kept going to the mega influencer, said, is Lane here? He goes, yeah, he's here. And he's seeing him because he understood he was getting credit for everything. I said, no, is he physically here? And he's like, no. He said, same thing to you. You do an introduction, we take over, but all the revenue is still going to you as well. And then the light bulb, you could tell he had that aha moment. And he's like, then I started thinking about, well, do you know any other mega influencers? He's like, oh, yeah. And I said, okay, well, you get to be compensated on all their following as well.
Exactly.
So anyway, it's not over till it's over because we still have to go back to the handler, the manager. There's always never enough money in the world for these people, right? Because they make money off the it's like a sports agent, right? They don't have to play the game, but they get their percentage.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, well, we're 1 minute past the starting point, so we want to thank you for spending your Saturday, or if you're watching a recording, we want to welcome you, or wish you always all the success in the world. And so until next time, God bless. We'll be here, same bat channel. I'm probably dating myself again. Same bat time, same bat channel next week with more exciting news, because Tanya still has this is Vegas, she still has a whole lot of aces up her sleeve right now.
Yay. All right, everyone. See you.